Picture this. You're sitting inside a billion-dollar heavily armored air defense system. You've got radar sweeping the perimeter for dozens of miles in every direction. The blast doors are sealed, the screens are glowing, and you think you're the safest person on the battlefield. But a split second later, the seemingly quiet sky hides a silent, grim reaper. Everything around you turns into a blinding flash of light, shockwaves, and twisted metal before you even hear an approaching engine or get a single warning ping from your radar console. No alarms, no evasive maneuvers, just instant destruction. This isn't a scene from a futuristic sci-fi movie. This is the terrifying reality playing out over and over again in modern combat. Hundreds of soldiers have lost their lives without ever knowing what hit them. And the thing delivering this surgical death from above, it isn't a multi-million-dollar supersonic stealth fighter developed by a global superpower. It's a relatively simple propeller-driven drone, a Turkish-made bird of prey that has completely ripped up the modern military playbook and rewritten the rules of engagement. Welcome to the channel. Today we are taking a deep dive into the weapon that changed the face of modern warfare forever, the Bayraktar TB2. To truly understand why the TB2 became a modern military's worst nightmare, we have to look back at how wars used to be fought. For decades, the concept of air superiority was exclusively tied to high-performance fighter jets, like the F-16, the F-15, or the Russian Su-35. These machines carry astronomical price tags and require massive logistical footprints. They burn through specialized aviation fuel and cost an absolute fortune per flight hour just to maintain. But most importantly, they require a highly trained human pilot. Forging a top-tier fighter pilot takes millions of dollars and years of intense preparation. They have to master extreme G-force endurance, complex dogfight geometry, and deep survival skills. So when a fighter jet goes down in hostile territory, it isn't just a loss of expensive hardware. It's a political nightmare, a potential hostage situation, and a devastating blow to the military's most valuable human capital. That's a loss you simply can't buy back overnight. Because of this high barrier to entry, smaller nations on tight budgets never really stood a chance against superpowers in the sky. Baykar, a Turkish defense company, saw this massive tactical gap, and they built the TB2 to ruthlessly fill it. What makes the Bayraktar TB2 so revolutionary isn't that it's faster, heavier, or stealthier than a main battle fighter. It's a complete paradigm shift. It gives mid-sized developing countries access to highly precise, devastating air power at a price they can actually afford. The battlefield that forced the entire world to take the TB2 seriously was the Nagorno-Karabakh conflict in 2020. The Azerbaijani military used TB2s to completely dominate and loiter over the battlefield around the clock. Circling patiently like hawks at high altitudes, they mapped out the terrain, spotted targets for long-range artillery, and when the enemy inevitably left an opening, they dove in. They dropped smart munitions on Armenian tanks, sophisticated air defenses, and entrenched infantry with absolute impunity. Tanks that were supposed to hold the line became multi-ton steel coffins. The black and white infrared footage of crosshairs locking onto targets right before they evaporated went viral globally. It proved one terrifying fact. Traditional armies relying on heavy armor and sheer numbers are just expensive sitting ducks if they don't have the right air defense grid to handle small, slow-flying, and persistent threats. And when we talk about expensive, we hit the absolute core reason why the TB2 wins wars on a macro scale. It all comes down to the economics of war. In modern conflicts of attrition, the winner isn't always the one with the biggest guns or the most troops, it's the one who spends their capital the most efficiently. You defeat an enemy by bankrupting their defense capabilities. Imagine Russia rolling a Pantsir S-1 air defense system onto the battlefield. That's a highly complex piece of machinery worth $15 to $20 million, specifically designed to intercept advanced missiles and jets. Suddenly, it's struggling to deal with a slow, prop-driven drone that advanced radar systems might initially dismiss as a flock of birds or a glitch. If Ukraine sends in a TB2 to strike it, the Pantsir might shoot the first one down. But if a second TB2 slips through the radar net and destroys the Pantsir, Ukraine wins massive tactical and economic margins. They sacrificed a relatively cheap, unmanned asset to obliterate an enemy system worth several times more. This is the cost-to-kill ratio. It's asymmetrical warfare at its finest, turning budget-friendly weapons into flying financial liabilities for billion-dollar hardware. To give you a crystal-clear picture of this cost efficiency and performance, let's break down the tactical specs and the rough order of magnitude, or ROM, for procurement. We'll be looking at these figures in USD to see just how disruptive this tech really is. Looking at these tactical specs, we can break this down step by step to see why it's so lethal. Starting with the type, the TB2 is a MALE UCAV. It features a wingspan of 12 meters, or about 39 feet, and a max takeoff weight of 700 kilograms. It can carry a specialized payload of 150 kilograms strapped to 4 external hardpoints under its wings. In terms of flight performance, it has a service ceiling of 25,000 feet, though it typically operates around 18,000 feet. Sitting at that altitude means it is flying comfortably out of the effective range of most shoulder-fired Stings, manpads, and small arms fire, yet perfectly positioned to survey the entire tactical chessboard below. But the real flex here is its endurance. The TB2 can stay airborne for up to 27 hours straight on a single tank of gas. That means it can loiter day and night without interruption, using its highly accurate electro-optical and infrared laser designating sensors to track enemy movements and lock onto targets through the dead of night. Once a target is painted by the laser, it's time for the payload to do the talking. The undisputed stars of the show are the laser-guided smart micro-munitions made by Roketsan, the MAM-L and MAM-C. The MAM-L in particular costs roughly $100,000 per unit. It doesn't have an internal propulsion engine, which means absolutely no sound and no smoke trail for enemy thermal sensors to detect. It's a silent killer. When deployed, it rides the laser beam all the way down, executing a devastating top attack maneuver. This means it strikes the roof of a tank turret, the spot where the armor plating is notoriously the thinnest. It's like dropping a scalpel from the sky. Whether it's an old Cold War relic or a modern main battle tank packed with reactive armor, nothing is safe from that level of surgical, top-down precision. Now, the real highlight is at the bottom of the table: procurement cost. If a military wants to buy a full system, which includes an entire fleet of 6 TB2 drones, 2 mobile ground control stations, and full communication arrays, it costs around $69 million. It sounds like a lot of money to the average person, but you are buying a fully operational, independent strike squadron ready to deploy. If you look at the raw unit cost, a single TB2 drone is only about $5 million. Compare that to a 4th or 5th generation fighter jet that runs anywhere from $80 to $100 million per unit, and that's entirely excluding the massive logistics and maintenance costs. Just the high-tech helmet of an F-35 pilot costs nearly $500,000 alone. A $5 million drone is literal pocket change for a national military. On top of the cheap sticker price, the operational cost is incredibly low. While its top speed is modest at about 220 kilometers per hour, raw speed isn't the point. It's all about persistent presence and psychological warfare. A 27-hour loiter time is an absolute nightmare for enemy infantry. Imagine being in a trench, freezing in the dark, knowing there's an unblinking infrared eye watching your every move and heat signature from 3 miles up. It drains morale and breaks troops mentally before a single shot is even fired. They can't sleep, they can't resupply safely. Meanwhile, the drone operators are comfortably swapping shifts, drinking coffee in an air-conditioned control room miles away. With an estimated flight cost of just around $1,500 an hour, militaries can maintain suffocating 24/7 pressure on the enemy without blowing their budgets. Up to this point, you might think the Bayraktar TB2 is an invincible cheat code for modern war. But the brutal reality of the battlefield is never that simple. The golden rule of combat is whenever a sharper sword is forged, a stronger, heavier shield is built to stop it. In the early days of the Ukraine war, the Bayraktar TB2 looked like an absolute superhero. It decimated Russian armored columns and supply convoys heading for Kyiv, single-handedly stalling advances and providing a massive morale boost for the defenders. But as time passed, the Russian military adapted and learned from their catastrophic losses. They brought out their heavy hitters, deploying full-scale electronic warfare units and dense, multi-layered air defense networks. And reality hit the TB2 hard. Being relatively slow, large in profile, and completely lacking radar-evading stealth technology, it became an easy, painted target for powerful enemy radars once they were properly set up. Worse still, extreme GPS jamming and signal blocking severed the critical command link between the drones and their ground control stations. Russian EW units blasted the airspace with interference, blinding the TB2s. Flying deaf, blind, and disconnected, the drones dropped from the sky like autumn leaves. This forced Ukraine to drastically change their tactics to preserve their remaining fleet. The TB2 was relegated from a frontline assassin to a rear echelon spotter. It stayed out of the danger zone, using its powerful zoom lenses to scout enemy movements from afar and feed highly accurate GPS coordinates to heavy artillery units or long-range HIMARS rocket systems. This critical pivot tells us exactly what happens when the enemy finally catches up to the technology. So, what is the future of the combat drone? Baykar knows their vulnerabilities better than anyone, and they aren't resting on the TB2's legacy. They are pushing the boundaries into a terrifyingly advanced future. The most anticipated development is the KIZILELMA, a jet-powered, sleek, stealth-shaped unmanned fighter that is capable of aggressive dogfighting, just like a manned jet. They are also heavily investing in the loyal wingman concept, where swarms of AI-driven drones fly alongside human pilots. These drones are programmed to act as a defensive shield, carrying extra munitions or diving straight into heavy enemy radar zones to absorb fire. This proves that the TB2 wasn't the peak, it was just the prologue to a massive revolution in military engineering. It is the bridge between the old era of manned flight and a new, colder era where artificial intelligence and machines rule the skies. The Bayraktar TB2 might not be the most perfect, resilient, or futuristic weapon in the world today, but it is undeniably the most influential trailblazer of this decade. It tore the mask off the old rules of war monopolized by rich superpowers, proving that smart tactics, immense patience, and cheap, high-precision weapons can completely rewrite the outcome of a global conflict. So, what do you guys think? In the near future, will these highly advanced smart drones evolve to replace legendary main fighters like the F-16 or the Gripen 100%? Will there come a day when the skies have no room left for human pilots at all? Or do you think human survival instincts, rapid adaptability, and split-second decision-making in the cockpit are traits that computer code and machines can never truly replicate or replace? Let me know your thoughts down in the comments below. If you enjoyed this deep tactical dive, don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe to support the channel. I'm Mick, and I'll see you in the next video.